Hi friends, are you around? Today I am live with two of our close friends. One is Mr. Vivek. He is convener for Uniting Copy Editors of India, and we have Dr. Sharma, who is a professor for English and an expert in training, teaching English language. Plus he also does lots of training programs for variety of courses including creative writing etc. So आप लोगों से मिलना चाह रहे थे तो मैंने कहा कि let's go live and share Vivek's thought as well as Sharmaji's thought about language business in India. So मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन है विवेक जी से. विवेक जी ये बताएं कि जो एडिटिंग का काम है, ट्रांसलेशन के बारे में तो आप जानते ही हैं, बट इवन ट्रांसलेशन में भी एडिटिंग की जरूरत होती है. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम एडिटिंग जो राइटिंग का काम होता है, उसमें एडिटिंग में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट की फैक्टर्स क्या होता है जो लोगों को ध्यान रखना चाहिए? आई मीन वी शुड कीप इनटू कंसिडरेशन दोज एस्पेक्ट्स.
As an editor, the main thing that should be kept into mind is that an editor's work is invisible. You have to get into the author's mind and convey what he wants to say. But the author should feel that he has written the final output.
Right.
So your work, while it should make the necessary changes, but it shouldn't alter the original meaning of what the writer wanted to say. And when the output comes out, that author should be happy. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say.
So now in the editing part, apart from grammatical points, what else you take care? I mean, what are that distinguishes you as an editor? How you add quality to the writing?
Well, I have to take care of what the expectation of the publisher is, what's the requirement of the publisher is, and whether the author is adhering to those. There would be some style related issues. The language should flow well, like it should be written in a simple way. It shouldn't be very complex unless it is for a very specialized field where those people will understand. So nowadays there is a movement called plain language. So it is language that a common person can understand. Your sentences shouldn't be very long. Your paragraphs shouldn't be very long. So it should have some variety, but there should be some consistency also.
Okay, so you also take care of simplifying the writing.
Yes.
For a common use, no? I mean,
make
it more understandable by common people. No?
Yeah, you are right. We take care of the jargon, like.
Right. So that's great. And Sharmaji, what you say? Do you feel anything about editing profession? Do you have any understanding about it? How you perceive it in India?
As a teacher of English, if a teacher writes, he thinks that he is writing completely grammatically correct English. Even though he writes many things which are un-English or Indian English, but he can't understand those follies or mistakes or errors unless an editor edits. For example, we say prepone and postpone.
Okay.
In English, the word prepone is there, but postpone is not there. Or postpone is there or prepone is not there. Our Indian mind thinks that these two words are there in English. So, a program is preponed, he understands very well. But a native speaker of English will never understand prepone, because there is no word as prepone, there is postpone. So, the editor's job is to give another word for it, so that all should be able to understand. He should see that the target readership is not only Indian readers, they may be even Sri Lankan or Pakistani or South Asian or for example Canadian.
So in a way he has to universalize the right.
Some kind of
Right.
universality should be there.
Right.
A kind of English which is not Indian English, but rather world Englishes. He should be able to cater to the needs of all the people everywhere. If you go to Africa, they speak a different kind of English, and they write a different kind of English. Even in English-speaking countries, all the 6 countries speak and write differently. So Australian will not understand the English spoken by a New Zealander or even Canadian. So, and when they write also spelling program, how whether you write M-E or you stop with M. So the editor will look into those matters, because when a writer is writing even a research paper, he is not familiar with all these things. He may not be familiar with the style of a certain journal or magazine. The expert editor will be able to pinpoint those mistakes, he will earmark them and then correct. So actually the editor is a help, but it is not unsolicited help, it is solicited help.
So any researcher or writer, before publishing, needs his or her services. When
Yes.
we are talking about making it more presentable structurally as well as universally. In fact, in this regard, I wanted to add one thing. I was under an impression, after having done my graduation, master's, MPhil in Spanish studies, edited some books also. When I went to Canada for my PhD program, and my first assignment had 20 mistakes, either in terms of articles or in terms of comma or in terms of apostrophe. So all these mistakes, when teachers or professors pointed out, I mean, this was done by a very expert editor kind of professor, I realized that my English was not strong. But before that, I was under the impression that I have a good English.
This is a misconception. Just now, one of the, I will not name that publisher, we have been talking about that publisher just now in our meeting. That company gave an advertisement, independent editors will be there to help you. And the spelling of independent was wrong, and the spelling of there was wrong. So what they are doing?
Right.
And then somebody has noted, please correct. Many publishers, many writers say, we will provide you high quality grammatical English, and the spelling of grammar will be wrong.
Right.
They don't know the spelling, whether it is Grammar or Grammer or Gramer. You ask 10 students the spelling of grammar around you, all 10 will be giving you 10 spellings.
Right. So in fact, I recall a funny situation. I was just going through some of the writings clips in which there was one English teacher in America who has corrected a letter of invitation from this American president, in which she was invited to participate in some event, and she has corrected at 10 points, as if she was correcting a student of her class, and she has sent it back to the president office, telling that please correct your English. How embarrassing it could be for the president office of America. Can you imagine?
I have a letter written by Amitabh Bachchan, and it has 10 mistakes. And then I have posted it on my Facebook on his birthday.
Right.
Just to tell others that how badly he is a Hindi film icon, but he can't write even 10 sentences. And the problem is this, that the letter he has written, had it gone to an editor, he would have corrected all the errors. And then Amitabh Bachchan must have become a very intelligent and efficient speaker and reader and writer
Right.
of English or Hindi. But because he did not use the
Editor.
that's why
That was his mistake.
even after 20 years of that letter, I can use it after 20 years also, that Amitabh Bachchan doesn't know how to write a letter.
But in reality, Amitabh Bachchan has studied in a very elite
Yes,
school, no?
yes.
Sherwood and Doon Public
Yes, but
School
he
and
can't
all.
write a letter without
So
mistakes.
that means you are blaming the teachers as well.
Yes, that's why editors are required. In a school, the mother is an editor. Sometimes even the father is the editor for the child. So editor is an integral part of our society. And here is an editor, you can ask him so many things.
Right,
Even
so
than
that
better
means,
than me.
I believe editors forum is important, and they have a bright future for the fact that they save lots of people from embarrassment.
Yes, even Amitabh Bachchan needs an editor.
Right. So Vivekji, for whom you have done some icon, for whom you have done some editing thing?
I haven't done any editing for an icon, but like I work for a very big publisher based in the US. But one example that Mr. Joshi gave in our last workshop was like he was editing some book in which there was a table in which it was mentioned how much of wood was used for different industries.
Right.
And one item was shoelaces. So he was surprised, like how come wood gets into shoelaces, because it's a thread. There is no element of a shoelace. So he went back to the author, but somehow the author also couldn't recollect because he might have taken the table from some other source. But that point kept on disturbing the editor, and he did some research, and ultimately he found that it was shoe lasts. So it's basically a mold made of wood in which over which you like put the leather and then give the shape.
Right.
So somehow over a period of time that shoe lasts had become shoelaces and nobody noticed. So if the editor was not there, then if actual information about how much of wood is being used in different industries, we are actually presenting wrong figures which can impact even the policy that the government makes or the industry makes. So that's how important an editor is.
I will give you another example. The spelling of apple is A-P-P-L-E. That's fine. But what happened, a Pakistani journalist, when she was told that the income of Apple is more than the total GDP of Pakistan, she thought that apple is a fruit. And she said, yes, apples are very costly nowadays. So had she got some kind of knowledge of that apple means not that apple, but the company Apple. So the editor has the job of telling even the reporters, even the persons who are reporting live, that Apple may mean a company also. So editors are required on the run also. Every time, every minute, not only in written script, but even vocal scripts.
So that means in order to put an end to that confusion, perhaps an editor could have written the Apple company, no?
Yes.
Or Apple Enclave or something, computer making or iPhone making company. Or
Yes, Apple
Steve Jobs
iPhone.
company.
Yes, that's the job of the
Editor.
editor to choose the right word for the right occasion.
In order to put an end to that confusion.
Because the copywriter has written Apple and gave it to them.
Maybe the copywriter wrote Apple in lowercase. If it was in
Capital perhaps.
then it would have been a proper noun, and this
Right.
confusion would not have been there.
But that journalists should have that feeling of understanding of that A capital means the proper noun, not the
Apple is the fruit.
not the apple as a general noun, no.
But yes, she got highest trolling, and her YouTube video became a kind of viral YouTube. So if you make a mistake,
you become
grammatical, then you can earn this kind of fun for your life.
That's great. That's great.
And even a company in the US, like they had to pay millions of dollars in compensation only because a serial comma was missing in an agreement that they had with the employees. So that's how costly it can be to ignore editors or not to use their services.
So that means today's take is
Yes.
we as a translator, we as a writer, or we as a person from language background, uh, we should be aware of the power of a linguist, and that power certainly has some good say in a profession called editing profession.
Yes, even the Oxford comma,
Right.
that you should put a comma before and or not.
Right.
There is a big debate. So we should not go that far that we start fighting on semicolon, comma, full stop, and all that. But there should be a reasonable balance. Grammar is there to polish the language, but before we polish the language, there should be some language.
Right.
So it is the duty of the author or the writer also, do not irritate the editor too much.
Oh, right. Understood.
Because if you write and
Too
think
much of
that
grammatical mistakes.
grammatical and syntactical and even the contextual mistakes, then he will get irritated, she will get irritated, and do not try to irritate your editor. Give her also some time. Sometimes the writer takes months and years to write a book, but he or she gives the editor only 5 days, 6 days. That should be avoided. Give him or her comfortable time and do not ask her or him to do the work in a hurry.
So that means it has to have a kind of a good rapport and relationship
Yes.
as a team.
Yes, and another thing very important, pay her well. If you do not pay the editor, you will have to pay through your nose later on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivekji.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you very much.
for being here.
Very kind of you.
And
A
thank you,
pleasure
my
to meet
friends. Hope
Thank you very
to
much.
hope to come back again with some another video of this kind, and we will have more discussions on various topics. Maybe next time we meet again, perhaps in the evening. And thanks for your time. If you like the video, do share and do comment.